Welcome to A Home to Love. My name's Delina. Today we're going to talk about giving old furniture a new or a refresh on its finish without having to strip it. So I recommend this if you have an antique piece of furniture or you have a piece of furniture that, like for me, it's my antique dining room table. It was Amish made. People that had it before us had it for many, many, many years. We've owned it 20 plus years, and it's seen all my 3 boys through homeschooling, many family dinners. I just don't want to strip it. I don't, if I stripped it, I'd have to sand it. If I sanded it, it would take away the character that it has on the little nicks and the little marks from when they schooled at the table. So I don't really want to do that. So what I've done, I tested it first. I couldn't figure out the finish or the stain color that I needed. Okay, so I cleaned the ends. It has 4 leaves and they expand at the ends and not from the middle. So I'll turn you around. Okay, as you can see from here, I mean, it's got some scratches, it's got little dent marks. My main concern is this is not polyurethane, it is only shellacked. So if someone spills something with water on it or something hot gets put on it, it leaves a white mark. And I've managed to get the white marks out over the years, but with grandkids being, you know, there's 3 of them and grandkids are grandkids, I would rather just protect the table. So what I've done, as you can see here, this is the end where I've already applied the gel stain to it. You can see it's slightly darker than the main part of the table. And what I did is I gave it a really good clean. Product of your choice to clean it. I've used denatured alcohol in the past that removes all the wax and the grime and everything off the table without stripping the finish. And then what I decided to use for the first part is the Midwax Gel Stain in Hickory. I did some research. Like I said, I did not want to change up the color of it. I love the original color. It is at this point considered close to an antique, vintage if anything. So I've done this end too, and you can see the difference. If I get you up really close, see the slight difference from one to the other. And I'm okay with that. It's just a little bit redder, a little bit richer. And what you're gonna do is, like I said, clean the table really well. See, there's where you can really see some of the damage that's been done to it. The gel stain, I use a chip brush, and it says to apply it, leave it for 3 minutes, and then wipe the excess off, and then let it dry. And if you need a deeper, richer color, which I'm not going to, you can recoat in 8 to 10 hours, and then wait 24 hours to urethane it, which is where I'm at. I'm gonna do the main part of the table with y'all. Okay, I think I've got you at a good enough angle. It's like jelly, okay? I mixed it with a stir stick, and then you're just gonna apply it with the grain of the wood. Gel stain dries much, much faster than your traditional stain. It also, you can go over an existing finish with it where you couldn't with a traditional stain. A little bit more money. I paid, I think, 23. Make sure you get the edges because that's where a lot of my damage is. 23, 24 for the quart at Lowe's. Maybe different in your area. And yes, it looks scary when it goes on because it looks like you're painting it. And I'm just really taking my time and going with the grain and making sure I'm going over the areas that are really, really damaged bad. Like deep scratches. And like I said, this would not be, if you wanted that pristine, new table finish, this would not be the method I would use. I would then strip it and sand it if that's what you were looking for. But this is a pine table, and pine is a soft wood and is prone to scratches and marks anyway. So the minute I would get done sanding it, I'm sure somebody would come along and leave some marks in my newly sanded, beautiful table that I just did. And I'm not up for that. But I'm okay with some marks that are in here. In fact, my middle son's name, I think, is in here somewhere, and some of his math, because he pushed so hard on the pencil that he was working with when he was homeschooling. So that's pretty much it. You're just gonna brush it on, wait that 3 minutes, take a rag. I use an old t-shirt, white t-shirt of my husband's that was beyond being salvaged. And I use those for staining rags or urethane rags or anything like that. Anything that needs a non-fibrous kind of rag. And that's what I'm gonna do through the whole table, or at least the middle part, because I've already done the ends. Well ventilated, because stuff is stinky. So I have all the fans going. And if I need to, I can open a window, because I live in a climate that allows that at this time of year. All right. Wait 3 minutes, and then we're gonna wipe it off. All right, y'all, 3 minutes have passed. As you can see, it's kind of dark. Take that t-shirt going with the grain. I recommend that you wear gloves. I'm not gonna do that. And then you're just gonna remove that excess. Now, there is a product, it's called Forbes Refinisher. I have used that on some of my antique finds that I didn't necessarily wanna destroy the antique furniture finish on it. But because I need to poly this, this is where this all comes from. I need to poly this. So I chose to do this method. But the Forbes Refinisher comes in various stain colors, and it's like got a poly and stain all in one. And it will remove some of the white finishes. You use it with, usually I use it with stain wool when I do it. All right, that one's kind of yucky. Ball it up. And like I said, this is really coming out nice. And it's covering all those nasty scratches on the ends or the edges. And I just keep folding my t-shirt once it gets saturated with the stain. I just fold it over, keep going. And like I said, once I'm done with this step, I'm gonna have to wait 24 hours to urethane it. In order to make sure that it's good and dry. I'm gonna probably have to Q-tip to the grooves in here. But you would see from one side to the other what it looks like. All right, y'all, I'm gonna finish up. I'll give you a shot of what it looks like at the end, and then we'll wait 24 hours and we'll urethane it together. All right, y'all, this is what it looks like with that stain on it. Now it needs to dry. I removed all the excess off. And you see now the ends match the middle. You see where that really bad scratch is gone, but at least darkened. Now, like I said, step back a little. All right, let me see if I can get you a better angle. There we go. So, yeah, you could see where all the marks are when the light hits them. And I'm like I said, completely fine with that because that's history in our family. Once this dries, I'm gonna urethane it and then we'll go from there. Okay, we've let it dry overnight and I've already started the polyacrylic process. I have about 3 or 4 coats on this. I'm gonna do multiple coats because this is a dining room table. I need it to wear. What I use is this polyacrylic by Midwax. This is the satin finish. Just know the satin is probably more like a matte with a little shine. If you really want a high shine, like a semi-gloss, you're gonna have to go to a gloss. So what you're gonna do, you need a synthetic brush. You're gonna take your polyacrylic, you're gonna stir it, do not shake it because you do not want those bubbles in it. And it's gonna go on kind of milky, okay? Don't freak out. It dries crystal clear when it's done. You're gonna go in the direction of the wood grain. And you're just gonna give it a thin layer as you go. And like I said, I usually do multiple coats when I use this. I used it on the island, I used it on the front door. Pretty much it's my go-to. You can use a polyurethane if you would choose. It does yellow over time. It is harder to work with to get that smooth finish. And the fumes. Polyacrylic does not have nearly the fumes that polyurethane does. It still has a smell. It dries much, much faster. So that's the other advantage of using this over a urethane. And I'm just gonna go over the entire table, sides too, because they get just as much wear and tear as the top does. Okay. And I'm gonna do that to the entire table. And then I'll show you the end results. And this is the finished product. Thank you for joining me today. And if you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing, giving a thumbs up, and leaving me a comment. I will see you next week.